My name is Ed Peters. I'm the piano manager here at St. John's Music in Winnipeg. I've been doing pianos my whole life, ever since I was probably 18, 19 years old. Got my first piano job in a piano store, and moved around the country and worked with pianos my entire life. When I got involved back in the late 70s, pianos were at a real high. But this is also at a time when pianos were a home entertainment piece, maybe a focal point. But I have to remember that we were still playing vinyl. There was probably 3 television stations in our city, and I would say that most home entertainment would have been around a musical instrument. Definitely prior to home computers. So they were at a high. In fact, import numbers tell us that they did peak again in the 70s, even though they had peaked early in the turn of the century, 1920s. But they peaked again in the 70s. There was consumer spending and people had a lot of disposable income. You could buy something like this quite inexpensively, and pianos were now being mass produced. They became dominant in the world because they could make pianos and ship them to our country cheaper than we could make them here, and so it became this phenomena where anybody could own and buy a piano with not a super high income. So the family could buy one, and it was quite good. So that's when I got involved. It changed a lot after that, but not necessarily the music market, but the piano market changed because other things came in. Electronics and how to compose and create music and what you do with that. I think the music market is probably larger today than it ever was. At least I see it everywhere. Every electronics store has music attached to it. But maybe the piano piece of it has always just been one small piece of it. Manufacturers now make pianos at different levels. They have an entry-level line, a semi-professional or mid-level line, and a professional line. Most large manufacturers will do that. The smaller manufacturers, they've disappeared. They could probably only make one piece of that. They weren't large enough to maybe compete. So there are fewer players making pianos today than there were, and very few, of course, in North America. Our labor rates are quite high. I think today, the fact that the piano world is quite competitive, it weeds out, people who aren't making good instruments. You can't just market anything and get away with it because this industry is very competitive. In recent years, we've had good increase in the acoustic piano sales, but that goes through cycles. There are times when it will dip, but I think as there are fewer players in the market, there aren't a lot of mom and pop stores everywhere, and so maybe it's just taken that and just weeded that out. And so we've actually seen in the last, at least 5 to 10 years, it's been steady and on an increase. I know in some parts of the world that's not the case, but Winnipeg is a strong market. Manitoba, I think our economy has been good. There haven't been really major dips. So for us, it's been steady. I think it'll be there as long as people are open to playing music of this nature. If our music styles change a lot that doesn't involve the piano, I think, well, then we're in trouble. But it looks like it's survived for hundreds of years, and maybe before the piano, maybe it was the harpsichord and the harp that were before the piano. So maybe it's been there for a lot longer than we maybe even think so.